got Steve, we've got Alex, and they need to be able to see where they are going. So please do remain seated unless you are going down to that bar. To some Londoners. So, as we go underneath the bridge, help me out, guys, and let's give a big wave to the people up on the bridge there. Fabulous. You see these lovely people waving back? They're not from here. Those are tourists. The people who ignore you entirely, those are the Londoners. Yeah, you know. You take a look just along the riverbank there. You can see one particular MP in a blue shirt staring out at the river, wistfully wondering where it all went so very wrong.
Hey, Mojo.
Up on this site. It also tells us that there was an old Palace of Westminster, and of course there was. The old Palace of Westminster burnt down in the year 81 with the Union flag flying on top of it. So that tower is fireproof. It's known as the Victoria Tower because it's a royal entrance. It's also a repository for all of the ballots that we've used in past elections, according to minutes of it. And then the last tower we've seen is, of course, the large one with the clock surrounding every single side of it. You all must recognise that tower. Ladies and gentlemen, what is the name of that tower? You're wrong. That is the Elizabeth Tower. So why does everybody last-minute.com for sponsorship purposes? London Eye, and it's absolutely beautiful. Constructed at any point on the journey. It was built March 9th, the year 2000 million to get there off the ground. Initially, it was only going to stand for 5 years, which is amazing. I think obviously very, very good at that. It's a neat line, but also iconic car what London would be at best, which is great, because if you're blowing 18 grand on a hotel room, please, for the love of God, talk to us. Right, we'll creep up from underneath Wall Street Bridge here, and we get a new view of the city ahead of us now. We can see some magnificent. But before we talk about those beautiful big shiny reaction, that joke's ever gone. So thank you guys so much for that. All right, well now we'll move to something far more grandiose. We'll start talking about it now. To the left, you can see the dome of St. Paul's Cathedral, that massive cathedral with the cross on top roof.
Hello.
You'll also note, in between Blackfriars Bridge and the train station, there is a seemingly inexplicable set of red columns to our left and right. I'll tell you about those on our return journey completed. You couldn't just pop down to Sainsbury's for a tub of pineapple chunks. They were very, very hard to come by. They were very expensive. People would buy them and use them as decoration, wouldn't even eat them. And so as a result, they became symbols of wealth and status. It was completed as recently as 1997. Sam Wanamaker, the actor and director from America, came over looking for a monument to Shakespeare, and he couldn't find one. Shakespeare's original globe had burnt down in 1614, and the one he built after that was closed by the Puritans in the 1650s. But how could that be? I thought London Bridge had two beautiful towers on it. That is Tower Bridge, and we will be getting to that shortly, do not worry. But this is London Bridge. This is the one the nursery rhyme is about. Actually has a lot of amazing history attached to it, and I will tell you all about that on our return journey. Worthy of its size. So the thing was built in Belfast, but it's seen much more of the world than that. It's participated in Russian convoys in the Ark, which means some people must feel like that sounds wrong. I am not one of them. Right, we can't ignore it any longer. Instead, ahead of us now, we have Tower Hall. Now, I know I made a joke earlier about people not wanting to wave at us on bridges if they're from London, but this bridge should be filled with tourists. So I'm going to ask the upper deck to help me out. This is for your own good. Let's try and get anyone on this bridge to wave down. Oh, so many people today. Lots of good-natured people. Thank you, sir. After reviewing all of those submissions, he said there's one design that stands head and shoulders above the rest. Mine. And he declared himself the winner of his own competition. Which is more than a little vain, but it is a pretty magnificent bridge, so I think I'll let him off the hook. This is known as a bascule bridge. So bascule is a French word that roughly translates into seesaw, because the bridge, so if you take a look up to the top, you will be able to see feet, because there are glass panels underneath these footbridges. You can go up there, walk across and look down at the river below. It is a great place to learn some history, not a great place to wear a skirt. Or maybe it is if you're into that, I don't know. I don't judge. Built by William the Conqueror and then William II, and it's actually had many different uses in its life. It's been a royal observatory. Some of the inmates that have been held there over the years include the likes of Guy Fawkes. From the old, we move to the new. We've ignored it long enough, but we cannot ignore it any further. To our left, we have the really big one, the massive glass triangular building. This is the Shard. It appears as though it was designed by an unemployed window cleaner, but it was in fact designed by an Italian architect of high esteem, Renzo Piano. Absolutely magnificent. There are offices, there are restaurants, and there's also apartments. If you are looking for a place to stay and you happen to have £42 million just squirreled, the first permanent bridge that was built on this site was during the Middle Ages, and that was a monster of a bridge. It was held up by 19 different arches. People wouldn't just walk across. You could have stayed home, saved money, and seen a nicer bridge than the one that we have here in London proper.
We miss you.
All right. Speaking of nice bridges, this one in front of us is not one of them. This is Cannon Street Bridge. It's really ugly, and I don't have much to say about Street Bridge. You will be looking into a gentleman's sauna. Look at your own risk. I have seen men in around it. That used to be a power station. It's the old Bankside Power Station. It provided power to Bankside from 1891 to 1981. It closed down because the Order Mr. Court and asked him, "What's wrong with your bridge?" He took a very defiant response. He said, "There's nothing wrong with my bridge. It's the way you Londoners walk. You march everywhere." Should be four. Now these are the leftovers from the old St. Paul's Bridge. Now the St. Paul's Bridge carried the first steam trains over the River Thames. But when the bridge was no longer fit for purpose and we started taking it down, we realized these columns are way too deeply embedded in this riverbank for them to be removed without dynamite. So instead we just painted a red, gave them a grade 2 listing and hoped nobody would notice. And here I am pointing them out 8 times a day for all of them. Carry down the river, weave its way through England, and empty out into the North Sea. 7 years ago, that documents were finally revealed that proved that women worked on this bridge. So now there is a plaque on the bridge, and it is officially known as the Ladies' Bridge. Right, 1,500 years old. It first stood in the ancient city of Heliopolis, and it was built under the direct orders of Tutmosis III. Romantic. I didn't mean to make all eye contact with you. These guys like or anything like that. But I can let you guys in on a little secret. And that's that those 14 rejections have all come from one person. One man has had 14